I went to 2 more Store Showdowns since the last one I went to, since the last video I made, and let me tell you, that went pretty well. See for yourself. Check this out. That's a play set of champions right there, boy. Play set of finalists, play set of top 4. That page is just glorious. So, obviously I won one of these Store Showdowns, but the other one, I lost. Now we're not going to talk about the one that I won that much, because it's not as interesting as the one that I lost. The one that I lost was at a popular local game store in town. There were about 19 of us, and I was running pretty much the same deck as the last video I made, with a few changes. I mean, I took minor changes. I took out an attack pattern delta, put in a cunning, because I feel like these cards play kind of similarly with the +4 from cunning, the +6 from attack pattern delta, you know, so I kind of wanted to see which situations, you know, cunning might work better. But it didn't really do anything super impressive. There were times where I was like, man, I wish I had an attack pattern delta here. But there's also been times where I'm like, well, man, I wish I had a cunning here. They work in different situations. The only way to really check it, to really know for sure what's better, is just to test it. Keep changing little minor things. And that's kind of what I did with this. Couple Gamorrean guards on the sideboard against the aggro matchups. There are a lot of aggro decks locally, even though I didn't play any freaking aggro decks. But we'll talk about my matchups more in a second. The event, like I said, there was 19 of us. It was 5 rounds of Swiss, and then a top cut of just the top 4. So the top 4 were playing some sort of, you know, a bracket style tournament. My first freaking game is against an Iden yellow control. Now, if you've watched any of my videos, you see my streams, you know how much I hate blue control. How much I hate the color blue. Remove it from the game. Get it out of here. Get that shit out of my face. This game was one of the most stressful games I've ever played. It was absolutely insane. Now, it makes a great story, and I love it. I love this type of game. This is what I play for, right? Just this kind of interaction, this type of game. But at the time, I was miserable and stressed. It was a disaster. I was a mess. It went to 3, and I won 2-1. Okay? Spoiler alert. But one of the games, this guy healed. It had to have been 50 life. And somehow I still squeaked out a win. I'm telling you, attack pattern delta did work. Everything just happened the way I needed it to punch through 50 freaking health. Oh my gosh. It was a slog of a game. You might be thinking, how does one heal up to 50 life? This guy played 6 vigilance. Not only was he playing Iden as his leader, who heals on her own, but he played 6 vigilance. How do you play 6 vigilance? You can only have 3 in your deck. Well, he's blue-yellow, so he's able to play Bounty Hunter Crew. And Bounty Hunter Crew is just 3 extra copies of vigilance. So he's playing 6 vigilance in his deck, essentially. It was absolutely insane. Kudos to him for the cool deck and healing that much life. I've never seen anything like that before. But I somehow came out with the win, and I was mentally drained and exhausted after the first game. Now, obviously, I hate blue so much that I can make an entire video ranting about it. Do I think blue should be completely eradicated from the game? Of course not. Of course I don't. Do I hate all blue players? Now, the next game, after being completely exhausted, I get mashed into a Boba energy conversion lab, which in these matchups, I'm usually pretty stoked. I'm ready for this sort of mirror match. I know exactly what I need to do. The thing that wins this game is ramping on curve, especially if your opponent ramps, and then Steadfast Battalion. Steadfast Battalion here is massive. Being able to answer their Boba right away. Like, most of the time, I want to get Boba Fett leader out right away, first action, and then threaten their Boba turn with the Steadfast Battalion ECL combo. I think that's where Steadfast Battalion thrives, is in this mirror match. So that's usually what I'm looking to do. And I was successful. I won 2-0. Moving on to the next round. Now the next round, another blue player. We got Vader Blue. And I love playing against blue. This was another 2-0. I feel like I've set my deck up pretty good to just absolutely hate blue. You know, I've got all the little units, again, that avoid Power of the Dark Side really well. I've got the typical Boba go wide strategy, end the game early with attack pattern Delta or a bunch of surprise strikes. I've just kind of locked into this blue control hate variation of play. Now the next game was another Boba Green, but they were not running Energy Conversion Lab, which right away I'm thinking, okay, I have the Steadfast Battalion ambush threat. They do not have the Steadfast Battalion ambush threat. That's kind of the difference maker in these games. Although I did drop a set, we did go to 3. I think not having Energy Conversion Lab really makes Boba Green like a little bit worse. It did suck having to take out 30 HP on a base, but not having that threat of ambushing in a Steadfast Battalion or even ambushing in, you know, an earlier unit, I think it makes the game a little bit easier. But I don't know, I haven't played much against the Boba 30 HP base, and I honestly hope that there's some variation of Boba where that actually becomes a legitimate strategy to actually go for that 30 HP base instead of having to like auto include Energy Conversion Lab into your list. Now, round 5, I was 4-0. I was feeling pretty good. Deck across from me was Sabine. Like, okay, that's fine. Sabine Blue. Blue? We got Blue and Sabine now? Like, Blue? This is not a typical Sabine deck. It is very much kind of like Chirrut Red. Plays very similarly. The mid-range, like, they got the blue Jedis, they got the lightsaber, you know, force throws, that kind of thing. But instead of Chirrut, it's Sabine. Which at first it's like, what are you doing? Just play like Chirrut Red. But let me tell you, Sabine Blue is brutal. And the main thing, all you got to picture is Sabine comes out, gets a lightsaber on her. You're telling me Sabine's a 5/8 on turn 3? Hitting my base for 6? That's nuts. And there's not much you could do about like a buff leader. And that's probably my biggest weakness with this deck. My hardest matchups are against decks that just buff their leader. Because I can't waylay a leader, you know? I mean, No Good to Me Dead is really one of the only answers I have. But it's like, it just slows them down one turn, and then their leader's going to be swinging at me like crazy later on. Like, Overwhelming Barrage, target just their leader, but that 8 health with a, you know, Sabine with a lightsaber, there's not a single unit in my deck that I could put an Overwhelming Barrage on and kill Sabine. So it is just awful when I play against these like Voltron leader buff decks. So I lost 0-2. Sabine, yeah, tore me apart. And then on top of that, you got to deal with like the good Force Blue units like Kanan, just good units. Luke Skywalker. You got to deal with the Forces with me. Oh, the Forces with me is just awful. You're telling me you have another 3 wing leaders in your deck? that also just gives a shield to your freaking force units, which you're playing a lot of. Oh, I hate the forces with me. And they get to attack. Blue is the worst color in the game. Changed my mind. So yeah, I lost that one 0-2, 4-1. So then we get into Top Cut. 5 rounds of Swiss are done. Top Cut's about to start. The top 4 players were all 4-1. So it was a pretty easy determination of Top Cut. So it was me, Sabine Blue, a Sabine Yellow, and Boba Yellow, which was piloted by Nick. You guys know Nick.
Oh, and I promise this is my natural voice.
Round 1, it's me versus Boba Yellow, played by Nick. And then the Sabine Blue versus Sabine Yellow. Now, I always love this matchup because typically when we're playing online or when we're playing for a freaking video, Nick kicks my ass. And I don't think there's a single video or recorded game where I actually win a best of 3. He always wins the best of 3, the best of 5. He'll always beat me online. He's probably won more against me. But when it comes to these last few tournaments we've been in, I'm always knocking him out. So I won 2-0. Basically the game against Boba Yellow is he wants to not let me ramp. And if we share a Boba turn, it's probably over for me. But if I'm able to ramp and I get my Boba turn to turn early, it's pretty much game over for Boba Yellow. It's really hard for a Boba Yellow deck to come back from that. And that's one of the reasons that I like Boba Green so much, is he's just so good against all other variations of Boba Fett. Now, the other game, Sabine Blue versus Sabine Yellow. I wanted so bad for the Sabine Yellow to win. I wanted it so bad because this guy just beat me. I do not want to play him again. I do not want to deal with Sabine with a freaking lightsaber. It is a nightmare. Unfortunately, the Sabine Blue pulled it out. Even though Sabine Yellow, it was so cool. It was the first time I've seen Bamboozle, played, ever. I was like, what the heck, Bamboozle? This is amazing. This is what I need in my freaking Boba Green deck against Sabine Blue. Now, if you don't know, if you've never seen Bamboozle played successfully, it is so good against decks that really want to just upgrade their units, Sabine with a lightsaber and 2 experience tokens. Play Bamboozle for free sometimes if you just discard a yellow card, exhausts it, and gets rid of her upgrades. All of them. Bounces them to the hand. And if an experience token gets bounced, it's gone. Destroyed. So I really love seeing fringe cards like this, cards that don't normally see play, just perform so well. Not well enough, obviously, because, they still lost, unfortunately. But it's really cool to see cards like that. The finals is me, Sabine Blue, and let me tell you, the games went exactly the same. 0-2. I thought I might have had something, thought I might have been a little bit more prepared. I was like, okay, I've got this. I'm telling you, I was in the zone. I was like, do not talk to, nobody fucking talk to me. I am focused here. I am in the zone. I was just kept to myself. People are watching, chatting, whatever. My opponent's trying to, talk with me. I'm just like, I'm locked in. I'm just finding every possible way that I could try to win this game. Every possible play pattern. I'm locked in. I'm not talking to anybody. I'm not laughing. I'm in the zone. I'm going for that champion Mace Windu. But I couldn't do it. I can't beat Sabine Blue. It is my kryptonite. My new kryptonite. I thought it was blue control, but I've handled them now. Now you're telling me I gotta change my whole deck just to beat Sabine Blue. Blue, man. Blue's a nightmare. It's blue. It's all these blue decks. Yeah, that was the result of the tournament. It was still great making it to the finals. I've had a good showing in all three of my store showdowns. First, second, I can't complain. It was a really good showing, And the guy piloting Sabine Blue, he's a great local player. And I mean, props to him for taking it, man. So I try to lose graciously, all right? I try to root for, other players that are consistently showing up and doing well with crazy decks. All I know is Sabine with a lightsaber is crazy. And with freaking the dark saber coming out, oh my god, Sabine with a dark saber and a lightsaber? She's gonna be dual wielding freaking blades? People are gonna have to be jamming Rivals Fall in every single deck. Everybody's gonna be playing blue. That's all there is to it. The meta's gonna just divulge into everybody just playing blue decks. Some variation of blue. Out of aspect blue. Everybody's... blue!